the tube, welcome to McGann Vs McGann. And if you've come here looking for steamy McGann on McGann action, then, well, that's not really what we're doing here today. No, recently there's been a set of figures released with 3 Paul McGanns, and they're 3 Paul McGanns that we've all seen before. And 2 years ago, I made a video about my 1/8 scale movie style Dalek that I'd made. I spent ages working on it. I did it all up. It cost quite a lot. I'd never done any model work before. And as soon as I finished it, Character Options released a packet of 2 Daleks which had a colour scheme highly reminiscent of the movie Daleks, but they weren't movie Daleks for legal reasons that no. Anyway, so I did a video comparing the 2, my one and their one, not saying, you know, a competition, because one of them is designed to be a movie Dalek but made by an incompetent oaf, and the other one is a mass-produced toy that just uses a sculpt of the TV style Dalek. So you can't really say one is better than the other because that's not really a fair comparison, but you can compare them because they are different. And you could say, well, they are different like this. So anyway, the last lot of sets announced, they've been announced, they've not been released yet, but they have been announced, we've got all the new figures come to B&M, and one of them is a set of 3 Paul McGanns that have all been released before. I had them all, you might have had them all, maybe you didn't, I don't know. But it occurred to me, this feels like a similar case where we can look at them and say, this one's different like this, and that one's different like that. And I think that would be interesting. I think it'd be interesting. Maybe you disagree. Now, I ought to address the elephant in the room. These figures are not yet available in the shops. They've not been released. They've been announced. They've not been released. I do have them. I've been sent them in advance. I should put this out there just now. I've not got them for PR purposes. I've not been asked to review them. I've just been sent them just as a nice thing, I guess. So, this isn't really a review, but it is reminiscent of a review in the sense that I've got them before they're in the shops. When will these be in the shops for you to buy? I don't know. No idea. I don't think even Character Options know the answer to that. Mystery. It's a surprise. But yeah, join me downstairs and we'll take a look and we'll see how these McGanns are different.
I may have from time to time seemed a little cold and preoccupied.
So yeah, here they are as a group, and I think even now you can see some of the differences, particularly colour-wise, which is the main whys that we're going to be looking at. But we're going to separate them off, pair up like against like, and see just how different these are. We're going to look at details and we're going to look at colour. The detail-wise, there's not a lot of changes. We'll move dark-eyed Paul's out of frame. We will move Night McGann's out of the frame. And we shall push the TV movie boys and tilt the camera slightly because their feet are slightly out of frame.
But if you knew what I'm going through, you'd surely understand and say it isn't true.
So in terms of details, there's not a lot of difference between these 2 figures physically. This one comes with a sonic screwdriver. This one does not. That's about it in terms of the sculpt. But detail-wise in painting, if we take a little look at their faces. Hello, I'm Paul McGann. This one's eyes are a bit sort of glary and manic. This one's eyes are a bit more sort of normal. The paint apps on the face are largely, I think they look a bit better. So I mean that's a detail rather than a colour. Another detail, this one's waistcoat has a pattern. This one's waistcoat does not have a pattern. Those are the difference in details between the figures. This one wins for tidiness. This one gets an extra point for having an accessory and for having a pattern on the waistcoat. So that's really all the things I can count under details. The big difference is colours. So I'm not sure how well this captures in the camera. Okay, that's not bad. The lighting's a bit, this is the best I could do. This one's here is a shade lighter of brown than this one's. I think other people have said this before. This one's here is too dark. The prototype image that we had of this figure
He had lighter brown hair, but in fact even lighter than this one's. It was very light. The wig that Paul McGann wears in the TV movie is it's quite light. It's lighter than mine. It's tending almost to auburn, but not quite. So yeah, I don't know why his hair is so dark on this figure. It never really made a lot of sense. But they've corrected that on this one. They've made it lighter. Point goes to new. We've then got the biggest thing that just drove me loopy about this figure. Why are his lapels brown? I don't, why did that happen? I don't know. They shouldn't be. This one, they fixed it. It's green. It's a different type of paint. It looks like that sort of silk fabric that he has on his lapels. He also has the same colour on his buttons. It really doesn't show on this camera. It's a shame. I thought this would look a lot easier to see the differences there. But on this one, they're painted a sort of, I don't know, vomit brown. Sort of goldy, khaki sort of colour, but since the lapels are a different colour to the buttons, I'm pretty sure the lapels and the buttons are both covered in this same sort of green, silky sort of fabric. So strong point goes to this one. On the rest of the body, we've got this sort of gold colour going on the cravat, a sort of coppery colour on the waistcoat, and this slightly warm grey. It's a slightly brownish grey they've got going on for the trousers. Whereas the original version, it's grey, and grey. They're all very similar shades of grey to each other. There's not a lot of variation, and there's not really much warmth. Now, when these figures were released, I remember a big dispute. What colour are Paul McGann's, not underclothes, but lower layers? What colour are these parts of his costume? Some people said, yeah, no, they are meant to be grey, and in certain lightings they do look like a neutral temperatured grey. In other lightings they look quite warm. It's a bit like the colour that my lobby and stairs in my house are. Sometimes they look blue, sometimes they look green, but they're completely colourless grey. Are Paul McGann's clothes colourless grey? I don't know. I've never seen them in person. In most pictures, they look the warmer colour. I would say out of the two, this one looks more like, I think, what people expect Paul McGann's outfit to look like. And thus, in a world where it's all kind of subjective, this one is the more accurate McGann. This one, generally, it looks better. I think the warm colours look nicer to the eye, it's more pleasing. Plus the green lapels, the lighter colour of the hair, the better face paint apps. This one wins. This is the winner. It wins most of the points. This one got, what, 2 points? This one has the rest of the points. This one's a better McGann. That's the takeaway here. Which McGann wins? This one.
It started when I overheard a friend of the family talking to my folks. She was saying to them.
Next up we have Dark Eyes McGann. This one's too far forward. Next up we've got Dark Eyes McGann. A figure that, I'll admit, seemed a strange choice since we just had this version 2-3 years ago. But you know what? They've done some things to make it different. I'm going to look at colours first because they're pretty similar. The jacket is slightly darker. I like the lighter colour better personally. That's just a personal preference. It's almost black now. It's a bit too not blue for my tastes personally, so point goes to old. Jeans just look the same. Shoes, the original one were brown. The new one, they're more sort of black colour. I think I prefer it brown. Point goes to old. You're not doing too well so far, Dark Eyes. The sort of bronzy coloured buttons versus the goldy coloured buttons, I think I like these better. And that's really it. All the other colours are more or less the same. So it comes down to detail. Because there's a big, very obvious difference between these two figures, and that is Paul McGann's bag. And I think when this figure was originally released, the big question everyone had was, where's the bag? Why do it with, there's no bag? Where's his bag? Where's his bag? Where is Paul McGann's bag? Where's the bag? Where is the bag? Here is the bag. It's here. The bag is here. It's a nice thing to have. I thought it was a new accessory when I saw it first. Someone said it's from a Primeval figure. That's probably true. But it's new to me. I didn't collect the Primeval figures. So, yeah. That's the biggest detail difference across this set. And it's a big one. The other difference is in the faces. Because This one is very over the top. The eyebrows are insane. The lips are very pink. It actually looks better on camera than it does in person, but he's very slightly over-exaggerated, sort of, it's all a bit cartoony. This one's a lot more neutral. His eyebrows are under control. So on that detail, this one also wins. So, I mean, colour-wise, I think this one's better, apart from the head. Detail-wise, this one wins, and it's such a big difference that I think... Do you know what? Hold on. Just if you do this, this one is the better one. I will say that, but only by a hair's width, because this one's got a better face. This is the way that they come. This one wins by a narrow margin. It's slightly better. Is it better enough to warrant having it on its own? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, a slight win for Dark Eye's new version.
It's a shame, 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 shame about the boy.
And finally we come to arguably the most sought after of the original figures, Night of the Doctor, Paul McGann. I love this figure. I always really liked this. I thought it was really neat. I like the fact with the original one, when I got it, he leans slightly to the left, and, well, my left, his right, and the TV movie one leans slightly the other direction. I thought that was quite funny. But yeah, so Night of the Doctor, Paul McGann versus Night of the Doctor, Paul McGann. Detail-wise, this one comes with 3 accessories. It didn't even occur to me to bring the other 2 down. He had a bandolier and he had a goblet with the elixir of life. Those things are nice. Sonic screwdriver, I did bring down. He's holding that. So this one has accessories. This one does not. In fact, this one's quite comprehensive. With three accessories is pretty good. But yeah, those are the only things I would count as details. The face paint apps. This one is slightly better. Look at it with my actual eyes. There's not a lot in it. This one, the paint apps on the hair are more sort of distinct. This one's sort of more homogeneously brown. There's less difference, less contrast, I think is probably the word I'm looking for. So, detail-wise, it depends on if you're wanting paint detail. This one is slightly better. The accessories detail, this one is slightly better. This one has more weathering on the shoes. They're shinier shoes, and they're sort of more contrast. And this one's are less strong weathering. There's less difference between the lightest and the darkest. There's less contrast. But yeah, well, also this one's got quite a noticeably grubby sort of paint app to the shirt, whereas this one is kind of a uniform off-white colour. The biggest difference between the 2 figures, it's colour. That's why I'm doing colour as the second thing, because clearly these are 2 figures that are different colours. The tie on the original one is quite a jaunty sort of cobalt blue. The tie on the new one is quite a muted greyish navy blue. The coat on the original one is a very strong, very saturated green, sort of a bottle. I'd call that bottle green. The coat on the new one is kind of a dark forest green. It actually looks less green on camera. It doesn't barely look green at all in this lighting, but it is green. It's just not as strong a green. The waistcoat on this one is copper coloured, a bit like the new. Well, actually, no, nothing like the new Paul McGann figure from the TV movie. It's much more orange and much more saturated than that. This one is more sort of metallic vomit colour. I don't know what that colour is called. It's slightly greenish, yellowish, sort of brownish, greyish vomit colour. The trousers are not a million miles off each other. This one's slightly darker. These ones, the boots are very brown. These ones, the boots are kind of brown. Those are the colours. This one wants to fall over. And you know what? I'm not going to let him. So this is, I think, the hardest one for me to explain my judgment, because up to this point I've been saying this one wins for this colour, and this one wins for that colour, this one wins for this detail, that one wins for that detail. These two figures are two quite different interpretations of the same thing. This one, if I were to draw Paul McGann, I don't know if anyone's familiar with my drawings, I do sometimes draw things, and I have a particular art style, I have a particular colour palette I tend to dip from. If I were to draw Paul McGann from Night of the Doctor, and I have before, the colours I would use would be almost entirely these colours. In fact, my picture has pretty much that exact green, pretty much these exact colour for the shoes and the waistcoat and trousers. The blue isn't as jaunty as this, but the blue is more like that blue for the tie. Other than that, this is pretty much the colour that I would colour him in. Obviously, my art style is very cartoony. This figure, to my eye, in pretty much every regard, is closer to the actual costume from the TV version. This is what his outfit looks like. This is the colour his outfit is. So this one is more accurate. This one is objectively a better representation of Paul McGann from Night of the Doctor. But, and this is why this isn't a review, this is just my subjective musings on it really, I like this one better. I think that looks nicer. I don't know what to tell you. It catches the eye more, it's more jaunty, it just looks more interesting. It's less accurate, but it looks, I like how it looks. So, based on this entirely unfair, completely arbitrary voting system, I like this better. I don't know what to tell you. If you do have this one, now this is a question, because if you have this TV movie McGann, I think it's worth getting the set to get this TV movie McGann. Honestly, just on the lapels. For the lapels and nothing else, this one makes it worth getting. The Dark Eyes one, the bag kind of just about justifies its inclusion. This one is the figure that people are going to want the most. And I think if you're not me, and you don't favour this more jaunty colour scheme, if you prefer accuracy, then yes, this one is worth getting for that reason as well. It sounds like I'm criticising this one, but I think this is great. I think this is a fantastic figure. I can't say that one wins because I like this one better, and I'm the one that's voting. I'm the only vote that counts. Yeah, that's it. That's the comparisons. Which bundle of McGanns is better overall? I think when you balance it all out, the new McGanns are slightly better than the old McGanns. The old McGanns win based on the waistcoat pattern, the accessories, the screwdrivers, and the fact that I like this colour better. This side wins on literally everything else. That's it, yeah, that is what happens when you rank McGanns against McGanns. You get 6 Paul McGanns. So yeah, let's go back and wrap things up.
Now I may be jumping the gun, but I believe what you said, and it hasn't been fun.
So there we have it. None of the McGanns are identical to their original versions. Are they different enough to warrant getting them if you already have them? That's up to you. If I hadn't been given them, I would have gotten them, because I think just that TV movie McGann alone is enough to make that set worth getting. But yeah, your mileage may vary. I noticed also in the corner of frame we've got not McGann. This is the McGandroid Yandroid. It's a Yana body. It's actually regenerated Sim body, and the head that came with the John Hurt figure. This one. It's a shame that never got used on any of the actual McGann figures. That would have been nice if they'd somehow worked out a way of putting that on the Dark Eyes body. I think that would have been quite cool. I guess that wasn't possible. I think they've probably got different types of connections, because that's a swappable head and the other one isn't. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed that. Like I said, I'm not doing reviews on the other sets. There's plenty of other people who are actually good at doing reviews that will be doing that. I recommend Matthew Toffolo, Batman March. He's pretty much everything I say in this video, he's already said. I'm looking forward to seeing his David Tennant video. I tried to get in touch with him. I wasn't successful. I wanted to find out if his Raggedy David Tennant had a weird bottom, because my Raggedy David Tennant's bottom has 3 stripes, and how well does that capture on camera? That's not right. That's not what that's supposed to look like at all. But yeah, looking forward to finding out if that is a universal problem or if that's a specific factory error on this set. So yeah, no, that's the video. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.
She could only have been talking about me, and nothing bad has happened far as I can see. What does everybody know that I don't know? And why am I the last to know?
That's a really creepy shot, it just comes into focus.